Hello, it's great to be back at Republica. I was here last year also, and once actually before the pandemic, so it's great to see all of you here. This is a really exciting time for search with everything that's happening in the technology world. And I wanted to give you all a glimpse of the future of search and the excitement that we feel around it. A great place to start any conversation about search is Google's mission, which is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. This has been the mission for Google as a whole, but search more specifically has really adopted this mission from the very start. And it really informs everything that we do in search. So in particular, the way that we bring search to life at the very highest level involves sort of these three broad steps. The first step is indexing, which is organizing the world's information. And we create an index of all of the world's information that we have access to. So that includes, of course, a web index, which is where a lot of the world's information is. But also it includes various structured data sources from the knowledge graph and the shopping graph that we have. And so we have all of this information indexed and organized in a way that we can then make it useful. The other two parts of what makes search work are query understanding and ranking. And these are the ones that are responsible for making search useful. That is the other part of it. Query understanding, people come in, ask questions, and we need to understand what those queries mean, what are they asking for. So if I remember a query which was, is Soul good for kids? And it's pretty clear to us that it's some concerned parent wondering whether sole, a fish, is good to feed their children. But if you get it wrong, you might think it's about soles of feet. Or soles of shoes. And so you need to understand what the question is. You also need to understand the intent behind queries. You say falafel, did you mean a place to eat falafel? Did you mean a recipe for falafel? Is it just like, what is a falafel? And so query understanding is like a very central part where AI particularly has been playing a role. And then ranking systems is what then makes it really useful by being able to surface high quality and relevant information. And we've spent many years building out ranking systems that do just that. Now, there's a question of how we pay for all this. And the way we pay for it is we sell ads, but nothing more. Ads is what keeps search free and accessible. So this is part of our story for being accessible in that mission statement. So everyone can access it. But we only sell ads. We don't do anything else. So you can't buy yourself into the index, for example. Advertisers don't get any special treatment for ranking. And there's really a sort of a wall between search and ads, and we just sell ads, and that's it. That's what keeps search free and accessible. Now, I've been working on search for a little over 20 years now at Google. And as I mentioned, it's no exaggeration to say that this is really one of the most exciting times for search, which is saying something. Search is our greatest moonshot, and we've had a lot of success. We get something like 5 trillion searches every year. And yet, it feels like we're only scratching the surface. Why do I say that? Here's a stat that sort of illustrates it. It turns out that 15% of searches that we get every single day are ones that we've never seen before. That's a pretty remarkable stat. And I think it speaks to the unlimited curiosity of people, and it's what encourages us and forces us to continually innovate to meet these user needs. And in fact, that's what we've done over the last 20, 25 years. We started as a search engine that showed 10 blue links, but very quickly we added images, videos, local search. We brought it all together into universal search, so the same query would surface the right kind of information. There was the big mobile revolution after that when people started using mobile phones, and that opened up all sorts of challenges with different types of queries and experiences, voice search. Then there was things like Lens for searching with images. There's Circle to Search that gave quick access to it. And so there's just been this constant innovation as we respond to new user behaviors, new user needs, and to developing technology. Now, one of the key technologies that we've always employed since the beginning is artificial intelligence, right? And we've always used the best artificial intelligence available at the time. So very early on, for example, one of the most beloved features, I love that feature to this day, was the "Did you mean" spelling correction feature. I'm sure all of you have had a good experience with that. And that has been based on using the AI and the language models of the time. They were called these N-gram language models, not the large language models you see today. And we use those. Then when deep learning took off, back in 2015, we brought deep learning to search with a system called RankBrain that gave us one of the biggest improvements in search quality to date. And then when there was all this excitement around transformers and BERT, all the precursors of today's large language models, in 2019, we brought DeepRank to bear using this technology, again, to make a dramatic improvement in search, the largest since RankBrain. And then we went on to use MUM, which was one of these smaller large language models that we had built for this purpose, which really brings us to the situation we have today with Gemini models, which are really a huge leap forward in how we handle information. It's pretty clear that Gemini and models like that are amazing at understanding language, which is really central to search, right? But it's not just language, it's images, it's videos, it's audio, and now we're getting into reasoning and thinking. And so all of this is really leading to a huge leap forward in the kinds of things we can do. Now, every time there's a technology shift, not only do we have to adapt to that technology shift and use it, what we've found is it opens up new ways for people to query. So when we had the big shift from desktop to mobile, it wasn't just that we had to shrink the UI to fit on the smaller form. It actually opened up new queries because people had their phones with them all the time. And so you started getting queries like restaurants near me. And we had to dealing with location and everything to satisfy that need. Or Lens is another great example, right? We literally made the camera a search box. You can now point your camera at anything and get related images or other information about it. And I had a great experience the other day. I'd gone for a run along a canal near London, and I saw this beautiful duck with orange and white and black. And I didn't know what it was. So I pulled out my phone, took a picture, did a Lens query on it. Turns out it's a mandarin duck. Right? And I'm not the only one who does this. People are doing this in spades. And so this really gets us to our vision for what we are doing with search. And sort of the short version of that vision is we want to search anything effortlessly. So searching effortlessly is what we are doing, right? And what we've found is when you make searches easy to do, people do a lot more such searches, right? I gave the example of Lens and visual search. And when we made it really easy to ask these visual search questions. Today, people are asking 25 billion visual searches a month. That's billion with a B, right? It's remarkable what happens when you make these things easy. And AI is really sort of transforming that to make asking complex questions very easy. Complex questions of all sorts. I love the second example here particularly because it points out that complexity in the questions you ask is not just because we like complexity. It's because our lives are complex and we want to solve the problems that we face, right? So the second question is, find me a nearby restaurant that's good for large groups with kids and has a vegetarian-friendly options on the menu, right? That's not just a question that happens to be complex, but you can imagine yourself in exactly this situation if you have a bunch of people over and you need to find a restaurant that satisfies this. And AI is allowing us to handle complex questions like this to address the needs of people around. Now, more concretely, there are three particular areas that we are working on that sort of fits into this space. The first is what we are calling AI-powered discovery, right? This is showing up as experiences like AI overviews, right? The idea here is, there's a lot of concern people have about what AI means for creators and the web at large, right? We think actually that this is a big opportunity, and we're seeing that with things like AI overviews. People are coming to us with AI overviews and asking more complex questions, and we're able to surface a nice AI response and surface a whole bunch, many more links than we normally could have. And when people engage with the links, they're engaging for much longer time, creating more opportunities for websites with these new types of queries. Furthermore, because we've made it easy to ask those types of questions, people are asking more. It's leading to lots more growth, which then again leads to more opportunities. So this is a really exciting direction that we're taking search in. The second is multimodality. Right? As I said, Gemini models are breaking down the barriers between text and images and video and audio and so forth. And that's allowing multimodal experiences both on the input and the output. So on the input, for example, you can take lens and you can point it at something and ask a question with your voice, right? So it's not just an image search, it's a multimodal question. Or on the output side, you go to a restaurant and the menu is in a language that you don't understand. So you point your camera at it, get it to read the menu, translate it into a language you do understand, and then render it back onto the menu so that you can see the menu in context. Right? All of this is possible because of the multimodal capabilities of these models. And finally, we expect search to become much more agentic. That is, it's able to go out, not just be an information retrieval engine, but to be able to actually go out, search, find information by visiting websites, things like current real-time information like restaurant availability or ticket prices and so forth, create responses for you, and then under your control go off and actually take actions like buying a ticket or making a reservation or something like this. And through all this, we continue to have the core commitment that we've always had, which is to connect people to high-quality, reliable information and to the broader web ecosystem. So just very quickly, let me go over some of the concrete products that we are that we have launched are in the process of launching in various ways. So I've already mentioned AI overviews. It's allowing us to ask more complex users to ask more complex questions, and it produces an AI response for you with surfacing various links to websites that corroborate this information. That's users are loving it, particularly our younger users, our Gen Z users. They're some of our biggest users of AI overviews. Another one that has really found great product market fit is Circle to Search. So when you're on a social media site, for example, and you wonder what that lovely looking dessert is, you can simply circle it or scribble on it or otherwise point to it, and it will pop up a nice AI overview telling you that that's a matcha Mont Blanc, which is an interesting new dessert that I didn't know about. And this is sort of the digital analog of what you might do with a friend. Point at something and ask a question about that. This is also proving to be extremely popular with users. And again, particularly with our younger users, our Gen Z users are finding this to be incredibly useful. And you can see how the multimodality is really playing into this. Given the sort of the success of AI overviews, we found that the success of AI overviews and the product market fit that it was finding, some of our power users were asking for even more responses, AI responses for their questions. Because AI overviews by themselves only trigger when we think it adds a net accretive value to the search result page. So to help these power users get a reliable, an AI response for all of their questions and ask follow-ups, we created an AI mode that sort of behaves in that way. Very much like image search is a mode in search that reliably gives you images. And so AI mode is something that we launched as a lab in the US. And then just last week, we announced that it will be available for everyone in the US, and we will continue to work on expanding its access there. AI mode allows you to ask many more complex questions, and importantly, we are making it more agentic with Project Mariner. So I'm, for example, a great sports fan, and I love to go to sporting events with my friends and family. But actually getting the tickets is always a bit of a chore. The Project Mariner inside AI mode actually helps you do exactly that. The query being shown here is getting tickets for two affordable tickets for the Reds game in the lower level. And it'll go out and look at various ticket providers, look at availability, look at pricing, come back to you with options that you can then ask it to follow up on and actually buy the tickets. So again, within the theme of making things really easy to do. So as a final comment, there's a lot of companies out there that help you find information of various sorts. There's social media, there's AI companies, there's various vertical experiences for shopping, for travel, for jobs, and so forth. And the question is, what do we do to stand out in this experience? One of the things we've discovered over and over again is people choose Google because they find it useful, right? And we work hard to make Google as useful as possible to users. We have decades of experience understanding information quality. This is sort of a key thing on the web. And in crafting these beloved product experiences. I mentioned two already. One was the did you mean from very early on, and the more recent one, which is Circle to Search, which is really sort of people are really loving. And the result of this is that Google has garnered a lot of trust from people. the trust that we will surface reliable, high-quality information for them. This is not something we take for granted, and we work at it hard every day to continue to earn the trust. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a long history of applying AI within search, and we'll continue to do that with these experiences, all the while having this mindset that we want to connect users to high-quality content and to the larger web ecosystem. And so that, I think, concludes my presentation. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Pandu. We have a few minutes left, and I want to ask some questions. I personally don't use the Google search that much. If I need information about one specific topic, I ask ChatGPT or TikTok. And I want to ask you if it's a cultural shift of the Gen Z that you worry about, or is it okay that we are like different to the other generations?
Well, I clearly have to find a way to get you to start using Google search more. But, you know, I think you raise a very important point. Our research has shown that Gen Z particularly is very interested in efficiency. Right? They want things to be easy to do, and quick information is what they're looking for. And so we have a very clear strategy within search to actually do that. This was, in fact, the point I made about making search effortless. It's all part of that. And I have to say, this is landing well, not just with the broader user population, but specifically with Gen Z. Right? To give you sort of two concrete examples, circle to search is something that our Gen Z users really like a lot. Right? And they're some of our biggest users of it. And I think there's even a stat that about 10% of their searches of people who use Circle to Search start with Circle to Search, just because it is such a compelling use case. The other example of that is even with AI overviews. It turns out, again, that's found great product market fit with the user base at large, and we are seeing active growth. But even there, our younger users, our Gen Z users, are some of our biggest. They have the best, highest engagement with this thing. So I think we are constantly working to make all of our users, but in particular our Gen Z users, find search to be the effective place for their information. But looks like I have my work cut out with you.
And what's one thing about the Google search you hope will never change, no matter how the technical shift will be?
You know, there's a few things here that really that I'm very passionate about. We've already talked about the overall vision for search, which is to make search really effortless. Making it easy, making it fast, getting your information quickly, and so you can get on with your life is something that I hope never changes. But there's another thing for which I've particularly spent a ton of time on, which is the trust that we have got because we emphasize surfacing high-quality, reliable information. And that's something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm pretty confident we're not going to let that slip, but I hope we never let that slip.
And if people stop clicking on links, how will websites survive?
So I don't believe people will stop clicking on links. Okay? No, here's why. I think all our research has shown that people like to hear from people, right? Now, different people like to hear from different people and different types of people. It could be from trusted sources, it's trusted institutions. It could be from businesses. It could be from creators that you follow. It could be from people like you on social media or on forums or whatever. But people like to hear from people, right? And that has been sort of a core value for us, is when we connect people to the web, it's really we're connecting people, to creators on the web of one sort or the other, creators, publishers, and everything. And I don't see that going away. Will people have to change how they create content on the web? Maybe, because just like we constantly adapt to what users are looking for and how they respond, I think websites and web creators will also have to do the same thing. But to the extent that they adapt to the user population, I just don't see that as changing.
And do you think search is becoming too focused on giving people what they already believe?
No, actually, I don't believe that. This is sort of the filter bubbles type thing. I don't actually believe that at all. I think search is particularly well suited to surface many results, right? The underlying 10 blue links already surfaces many results. And as I said, even with our AI experiences, we're actually surfacing more links from a wider variety of sources than we did before. And so getting a diverse set of results out there has been always core to what search does. The experience sort of lends itself to that. And that's what ensures that you get exposed to different perspectives, different ideas, and not just on, say, the perspective you have.
I have one last question. What should search feel like in the future? What's the feeling that you want to give the people when it comes to the search?
I mean, I think the feelings, again, is just sort of easy and natural is what I want, and trustworthy. That's like, I know that I can trust it, not to give me an answer, because I think there are many, many questions where there is no simple answer, but a place where I can go and find out for myself, that I would turn to figure out what is right. I think that's what search will be, I hope.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much.